If you meet me at the corner of Russell and Albina, just about a block from Mississippi Avenue, I'll take you to a house where they hang carpets on the wall. And if we go there on a Sunday, there's a song I'll take you through.
Hi, I'm Mike Simpson, and this is Open Mic America, the first of two for the month of April. And I'd like to welcome everybody who's here on YouTube, as well as all of our folks on the show itself. I'm going to be your MC tonight. Chris Steele is our interviewer, and Capo Dave Williams is our Dottie engineer and the founder of this wonderful show, and also the creator and builder of Dandy Hybrid Guitars, which you will hear a bit about later. Our mission here is to support your local open mics, where you can go in person to see songwriters performing their original music. Tonight, thanks to technology, we get to travel all around the country and see those same performers in their own living rooms and or basements and or wherever. Without gimmicks, without any frills, this is the heartbeat and the DNA of American folk music. It's a tapestry of story and song that has been weaving us together for many, many generations. Some of our performers may have invited, I don't actually see any, but sometimes we invite fans to be present as our studio audience. I don't see any tonight, but if you're here, wave. All right, now let me introduce all of our performers. I'm going to give them to you in the order that you'll hear them tonight. First off, Charlie and Libby, the Hewitt Family Band from Brookhaven, Mississippi. Bill Hernandez from Portland, Oregon. George Eckert from Decatur, Georgia. Chris Steele from Newton Upper Falls, Massachusetts. John Michael Lawrence from San Antonio, Texas. Rich Fassler from Bainbridge Island, Washington. Joseph Isaacs from Columbia, Maryland. Jennifer McQuaid from Auburn, Maine. And Jim Pritz from Fairview, Oregon. Our first guest tonight is the Hewitt Family Band from Brookhaven, Mississippi. And their favorite local open mic is really pretty much their church. They do perform in the Songwriters Summit Zoom sessions every month, and they're going to do the local Overbrook Singer-Songwriter Weekend in August. So let's go for Hewitt Family Band. And of course you guys are still muted. I want to correct that. Let's see. Okay, I've unmuted you. I got you unmuted.
Here we go. These first two songs we're going to do were the only two songs. Were both co-written by my writing partner, Jeff Hutton Jr. from McComb, Mississippi. This one's called The Last Train to New Orleans. Caught the last train out of Memphis, rolling down to New Orleans. The beauty of the countryside, the kaleidoscope of greens. My face against the window, felt the coolness of the grass. Drank in the scenery as I rode back to my past. I've been 80 years around the sun, and it's just times I've seen bad. How to live through the bad times, I've been busted, hurt and sad. Now I'm on this ride going home to New Orleans. I want to see my friends on Bourbon Street where I first learned to sing. And I'm a Louisiana born, I'm a Louisiana man. Here away forever, now I'm back again. ready for some red beans and crawfish head to fade. Just in time for Mardi Gras, there's a bon ton roulette. There was a honky-tonk woman that I had left behind. She had flashing dark eyes with voodoo on her mind. She could light a candle with a wave of her hand. She could cast a spell on you, I hope she'll understand. 'Cause that girl was in my mind every minute I was gone. Places in my memory, no matter where I'd roam. I knew she had black magic, 'cause I'd seen the signs. My only whole black magic is love potion number 9. And I'm Louisiana born, and I'm a Louisiana man. Been away forever, but now I'm back again. Ready for some red beans and crawfish yet to fade. Just in time for Mardi Gras, les a bon ton roulette. Yes, I'm a Louisiana born and I'm a Louisiana man. Been away forever, but now I'm back again. Ready for some red beans and crawfish yet to fade. Just in time for Mardi Gras, les a bon ton roulette. Yes, I'm ready for some Mardi Gras, les a bon ton roulette. Let's stand there, right there. We were singing some French there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Another
stuff,
classic.
guys. Great stuff.
Your video for everyone. I bet make the microphone if you want to.
What business was it saying?
It says unmute. On here. Okay, there we go.
This next one, again, was me and my co-writing partner. And when I had this medical condition, I couldn't play the guitar for about 6 weeks, and it was because they didn't want anything pressed against my chest where they put the defibrillator and the pacemaker in.
Or him pulling any leads
Yeah.
out of his heart.
And so by the end of that time, this guy sent me some of these words, and he says, "This might get you out of your rut." And it was a really good idea, and some of the lyrics, and it's on this album we did. It's all kind of jazzed up, but this is going to be kind of a straight version. It's called "Give Me Jailhouse Rock." Standing at the gates of Graceland, the day after Elvis died, I had a pistol in my pocket. I cannot tell you why. My hero died, lost his battle with the pills. My heartaches leave me quiet and still. It is so very hard to tell you how I feel. So give me jailhouse rock and blue suede shoes. Love me tender and stuck on you. Viva Las Vegas and treat me right. Kentucky rain, are you lonesome tonight? His baby girl found him lying on the bathroom floor. She screamed so loud, he's not breathing anymore. I watched a car drive through the gates. James Burton looking out. I could hear his Telecaster ringing, and the Jordanaires would sing and shout. So give me jailhouse rock and blue suede shoes. Love me tender and stuck on you. Viva Las Vegas and treat me right. Kentucky rain, are you lonesome tonight? The southern rain began to fall as I made my way to Beale Street. Stopped at B.B. King's Club, and I drank until I could not speak. The whiskey gave me courage to wrestle with the pain, till the housebound cranked up and I heard them play. Kentucky rain. So give me jailhouse rock and blue suede shoes. Love me tender and stuck on you. Viva Las Vegas, treat me right. Kentucky rain, are you lonesome tonight? Hey, just give me jailhouse rock and blue suede shoes. Love me tender and stuck on you. Viva Las Vegas, treat me right. Kentucky rain, are you lonesome tonight? Kentucky rain, are you lonesome tonight? There it is, give me Jailhouse Rock.
Ah, great song. My favorite on the CD.
Good stuff, guys. All right, I'm going to turn you over to the Tender Mercies of Chris Steele here next.
Thank you very much for that, Mike. Charlie and Libby, that was a beautiful set. Thank you so much for that. I also had the chance to take a look through some of the stuff that you've put online. It's a beautiful, beautiful book of work. I was thinking, you write so much about just basically as storytelling, and I'm wondering a little bit, how do you decide which stories are meant to be shared through songs, which ones are private, and which ones do you make up from like whole cloth?
Everything that is said and done in his presence is fodder for songs. Of course, he doesn't write all the lyrics. His friend does some of them.
But we've been doing it for 5 years, and he's pretty well tuned in to what he knows all about my relationships and divorces and what I like and don't like, and we really work together. I have just a excellent rapport with this guy, and it's nice.
How did you find each other? It sounds like you've been working together for about 5 years now?
Yes.
Friend of a friend.
I was a friend on Facebook with him, didn't know him, never met him in my life. Still haven't talked to him. Haven't met him yet. I haven't talked to him on the phone at all. He just, one day these lyrics showed up, and I read them, and they sounded good, and so I texted him back, do you mind if I try to put a tune to this? He said, no, do anything you want to, change anything you want to, I'm fine. And that's a load off my mind, because a lot of times I change a lot, but it's the idea. I think the hardest part of writing a song is getting the good idea. And that helps. Most of them I have some personal input into them. Sometimes they'll just come out of nowhere. And I can't stop them. I don't know.
Well, it's funny because it's actually something else that I was thinking about when I was reading through some of the stuff you'd put online and actually listening to some of your music online. There's a couple of your songs, I was thinking Stranded in a Downtown Bar, there's this sense that songwriting is more than just performance for you, but it's kind of a compulsion. And I'm guessing, I guess the question is, do you feel that you have to write even when you don't feel like it?
Yes, it gets me out of, that's all I can do. That's what I was meant to do. I haven't done it all that well. I haven't made a dime except when I used to travel and play in clubs. I would make money there, Holiday Inns and stuff, but I don't care. I wanted to sing and play with a band. That was my goal in life, and I finally got to it, and I'm happy, and it's something I can do now that I'm 80. I'll be 83 in July, and I can still do it. Not much worse than I have. I never was a very good guitar player, and I got kind of a three note range singing, so I'm lucky. And then got with Libby, and been through several wives, and there was always something that came up. You'd be out playing, and they'd be at home. The trouble would start there because you get a couple of drinks, and some little thing will walk up and say, "Oh, yeah, I love that song." Well, she's there now, and so that doesn't work. I don't get any trouble, and so I'm too old to get in much trouble now at 82.
Well, I'm going to say I'm going to call on Libby here just for a second because Libby, what you're doing on that organ there is actually really, it brings a real atmosphere to the songs, and I guess
it sounds like an organ, but it is an electronic auto harp.
I was wondering because I saw your right hand doing something a little different, and I wasn't sure what it was.
The Sony Q chord.
Okay.
And it's on the Fritz, but you probably heard that little buzz in there. There's something on the drum plate, and when it gets warm, so I don't know. I may have to chunk it and buy a new one, but I got to save my pennies first.
Well, it really adds to the song, so I really wanted to compliment that.
First, I'm saving my pennies to be singing at Carnegie Hall next spring.
I knew you'd get that in.
Oh my! All right,
Not
well, listen,
myself, but as one of a 300 voice choir. But that's where my love is of music.
oh, I hope that comes true for you. All right, well, listen, we've got just a little bit of time here, but I did want to ask one more question here, and it really kind of came up in that last song that you were playing there, Charlie, and it really is. Oh, how to put this? That there's this. That you were talking about going home to New Orleans, and I guess one of the questions that I've seen other songwriters kind of play around with is this going home as a theme. And I guess, do you really look at that as a literal going home or kind of a form of redemption or something else?
I started off playing on Bourbon Street in a little folk club called the Bayou Room in 1966.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first really good break. And the two guys, I've told this story before, but the two guys I was playing with, the banjo player and the bass player, got killed in a car wreck.
Ooh.
And so the guys that were running the place had to audition to get somebody to take our place. And after several months, Jimmy Buffett, who was playing on the Mississippi Gulf Coast of the club, came in, auditioned. That's the first job, real good job he had, where he was leading the group. And so,
So how many people can say it took Jimmy Buffett to replace them? You know.
no, that's a true story. And so I love New Orleans. My home is Summit, Mississippi, although we live in Brookhaven right now, which is about 20 miles north of Summit. But the going home part is true. I feel like that about New Orleans.
Appreciate that. Well, Charlie and Libby, that was a beautiful set. Thank you so much. And I'm going to hand things back here to Mike. Take us on to our next performer.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty, I'm unmuted, and our next performer is Bill Hernandez from Portland, Oregon. He plays on a virtual open mic every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time called the Eagle's Nest Revisited. And you can find him once in a while at the Wang Dang Doodle open mic at the Leaf Bar in Edmonton.
Mike, I
and
think
at
you
the
got those
Influence
reversed a
Music
little
Hall.
bit. That's mine.
That's whose?
That's mine.
I didn't see who said that was theirs.
It's Chris. You're reading off my my open mic stuff, not Bill's.
Well, I'll be about that. I put his stuff in there accidentally. Well, Bill Hernandez, you sent me information, and you can tell us about it. I'm going to let you go here.
I play at the it's every Friday night at the Influence Music Hall. We play at the Pythians Lodge, up the 2nd Avenue in Hillsborough. We've been doing an open mic there for Influence Music Hall has been doing an open mic for 18 years, and we also do a virtual Zoom open mic the same night. And that's it's good to see Deb out there. I met Deb a couple years ago. I'm not sure if Deb's still doing the Zoom, but yeah, it's the Influence Music Hall and Pythians Lodge in Hillsborough, and I'm gonna just do a couple songs here. This first one is called Heaven. I always knew God would bring you to me. I was wandering aimlessly. I even put my own name to shame. I put my faith in you, my Lord. I know you're working hard to find somebody who will share my name. Share my name with me. Take my hand, you'll see. When we land, it'll be heaven. Heaven, oh. I don't know why I put up any fight. Your time and it's always right. I'm never gonna doubt your way. I would spend 40 days and nights for you just to prove my love is true. There's so much more I need to say. Tonight I'm working really hard to find those words, that perfect heart. Tonight I'm making myself clear. There's nothing that you need to fear. always knew God had a plan for me, and I was just too blind to see. I always needed someone else to blame. My only hope was maybe you were out there too, trying to find somebody new to share my name. Share my name with me, take my hand, you'll see when we land it'll be heaven. Heaven, oh, heaven.
Yeah, nice, Bill.
Very nice.
I think someone's mic was on there. I'm not sure. I think it's off now. Okay. This next one's called "Something's Wrong with Me." I don't think I could find the perfect words, the perfect line to tell you how much I'm in love with you. It would take a million years for me to fight back all the fears that I have when you hear I'm in love with you. We're only here for a minute, don't step back, you might fall in it. Now don't you blink, you might just miss the truth. And that's something that I'm working on. I fall too hard, I'm so far gone. I hope you don't think something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. I wish I could go back in time before there were words or rhyme. I'd be the first to pen the line. I'm in love with you. I wish there was another way, an obstacle, a plan for I'd stop my brain before I say I'm in love with you. We're only here for a minute, don't step back, you might fall in it. Now don't you blink, you might just miss the truth. And that's something that I'm working on. I fall too hard, I'm so far gone. I hope you don't think something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. We're only here for a minute, don't step back, you might fall in it. Now don't you blink, you might just miss the truth. And that's something that I'm working on. I fall too hard, I'm so far gone. I hope you don't think something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me.
Yeah. All right, Bill Hernandez, let's move the focus from me and you to you and Chris Steele.
Bill, that was absolutely beautiful. And by the way, if nobody's actually yet taken a look at Bill's website, you really should. It's a beautifully done. It kind of portrays what you did, before actually coming back over to this side of the career here. So I think that's really.
I owe it all to my daughter Gabby. She's.
Oh, okay. Well, I got to ask you about that first song. I mean, it really carries this incredibly Beatles-esque or even kind of an Everly Brothers kind of a feel to it. And one of the things that you mentioned on that website is that first Ed Sullivan appearance of the Beatles as a pivotal moment. And I guess, how has that inspiration, how has that passion kind of stayed with you as you create your art from there?
Man, it's the Beatles just mean everything to me. I've been to the Beatles Museum in Liverpool. My daughter went to school in London, and I crossed Abbey Road, and it's their music has just been incredible. I think a lot of it is just trying to find simple kind of upbeat melodies that just and the words just kind of flow. And I play a lot with my buddy Rob Cork, and I know you guys. He's been one of the interviewers here. Just having the harmonies with him, it's just. And when you play music with another Beatles fan, it's nothing better, man. Nothing better.
So, just real quick, there was something I saw in the news. The zebra crossing in front of Abbey Road is actually getting redone. It's not going to look the same way that we're all used to seeing it. So, if you do find yourself in London, like the next couple of weeks, go, because it's just not going to be the same after that.
It's such a trip to go there, because there's people all around the world.
Yeah.
And everyone takes their turn, and I did the shot. I wish I had taken my shoes off and had a cigarette, because I'm a big Paul's my favorite Beatle, but I got to go back and hold a cigarette and take my shoes off.
Oh man, that's fantastic. There's so much meaning in your songs. The last one that you played there, "Something's Wrong with Me," you said that just elsewhere in the other stuff that you had written, you said that music is the chronicle of our lives. And I guess one of the things I'm wondering is, how do your listeners, when they talk to you about your music, how do you hope that the listeners are going to connect their own memories with the things that you're seeing? How is it about that people find the universality in the message, or are they finding their own take on it?
I think a lot of it is, I really started writing music 10 years ago when I got divorced, and so I think there's a lot of songs about that people can relate to. And I always tell people, if you ever want material, just try online dating, because online dating will give you a plethora of material. And I remember writing a song about this woman I met, and we had a great date. And then the next night, that night she told me she was going back to India. And she told me she wanted to know if I'd wait a year. She was going to come back for a year. She wasn't going to come back for a year. And I remember playing that song, and some guy came up to me, and he was just, "Oh my God, man, the same thing just happened to me with this woman I met in Germany." So I think, if our music can touch at least one person out there, that's what it's all about. But most of the things I write about are relationships and falling in love, falling out of love, and that's kind of where I get the gist of what I write about.
Well, I get it, and there's this real emotional weight in a lot of the things that you write. How do you take that very familiar kind of experience and find the new take on it? How do you find the fresh angle?
Yeah, when I wrote that song, there's something about when you fall in love. I remember, I've been accused of I'm in love with falling in love, and when you're in love with someone, you're just like the world. It's incredible, right? It's like everything feels different. And I didn't want to write "Nothing's Wrong with Me," so I just did a little take on something's wrong with me, and that something is that I'm madly in love with someone.
Well, that's just beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your art with us. I'm going to hand everything back to Mike, and we'll move on to our next performer.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
All right, next up. By the way, thank you, Bill. That was great. The next up person that we have is Mr. George Eckert, and he is someone who hangs out for the most part, I guess, in and around Georgia. And so I'm going to talk about his venue here once I click the right button. All right, Thinking Man's Tavern in Decatur, Georgia. Waller's Coffee, also in Decatur, Georgia. And the Red Light Cafe. Those are places you can find George Eckert live if you are so inclined and in the region there. George, take it away.
Okay, thank you all for having me again. This first song I'm going to do was inspired by an interview I heard on NPR with a homeless man in 2008. It's called American River. I live on the American River, all my money's spent. They won't hire a man who's good with his hands from a city made of tents.
California from the Minnesota cold. Who'd have believed this is where I'd be at 53 years old? So send me a tired and hungry, yearning to be free. Come to the American River, face the future here with me. Last week my car got stolen. I ended up in jail. Got drunk that night, got into a fight, couldn't make the bail. Last fall my house got foreclosed. Mama took in my wife. Now I'm a good man with these two hands. I'll rebuild my life. So send me, you're tired and hungry, yearning to be free. Come to the American River, face the future here with me. My father was a blue-collar working man, a welder just like me. He taught me what's right, when to run and when to fight, and to weld a steady beat. My grandfather told us stories about life out on the rail. I have to admit, before all of this, I thought he was just telling us tales. So send me, you tired and hungry, yearning to be free. Come to the American River, face the future here with me. I live on the American River, there's thousands just like me. With our own hands, we'll rebuild this land from sea to shining sea. With our own hands, we'll rebuild this land from sea to shining sea.
Well done,
Great
George.
song. Good lyrics.
So that song was actually based on a real event. This next song is one that this happens to be quite frequently. Actually came to me in a dream. Excuse me, it's pollen season down here. It's called this is called The Other Road. I dreamed last night I was on my own, riding on the other road. Pickup truck and fishing pole, just 18 years old. And the other road was paved with gold. You never get lost, you never get old. The grass is always greener when you're riding on the other road. From time to time I find myself gazing down the other road. I could go left, I could go right, how am I to know? 'Cause the other road is paved with gold. You never get lost, you never get old. The sky is always bluer when you're riding on the other road. Now I used to ride a long way to work, ride a long way back home. While I was going to and fro, I'd pass by the other road. and the other road was paved with gold. You never get lost, you never get old. Things are always better when you're riding on the other road. Now I haven't gone far down the other road. Where it ends, nobody knows, 'cause no matter which way you go, there'll always be another road. And the other road is paved with gold. You never get lost, you never get old. The kisses are always sweeter when you're riding on the other road. Now the time has come to say goodnight. Time for us to head home. While we're going, I'll bet my life we'll pass by the other road. And the other road is paved with gold. You never get lost, you never get old. The grass is always greener when you're riding on the other road. The sky is always bluer. The kisses are always sweeter. Things are always better when you're riding on the other road.
Very nice. You ready to be thrown into the lap of Chris Steele? Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. George, that was beautiful. And
thank you so
again, I
much.
had a lovely afternoon, quite frankly, browsing through a bunch of the music that you had online. I just, there were just beautiful songs, moving songs, and a couple that I've had chuckle, which I'm going to come to here in a second. But just American River and then, Other Road, there's a real spiritual and cultural thread that runs through your work, and I guess what role does the reflection on history and community play in your writing? You're exposed to so much history and community clearly in your day-to-day life. Where does the inspiration actually take you to then songwriting from there?
Oh, wow. That's a very in-depth question. Let me see if I can contemplate that. Um, Charlie was talking about the issue of finding things to write about, and it can sometimes be really difficult. And although I don't think either one of these songs reflect this particularly, but I often find myself writing about sort of current events. So I write a lot of songs that are kind of about the environment and ecology and so forth, and then I write songs about justice and those kind of things. Um, but then I also write the occasional love song. I mean, I'm 74, so my love life is a little bit a little slowed down a little bit. But uh, yeah, does that answer your question?
I think it certainly starts to get into it, and just there were other things that I saw that you were doing. It just kind of comes even in the songs that you were playing, where some of these titles are just beautiful, and the songs were great too. Granddad's Car, My First Guitar. I love My First Guitar, by the way.
Oh,
This
wow,
farm,
thank you.
this old farm, they feel really, really personal. And I guess because you were also just talking a second ago about how some of your songs come from dreams. What's the mix of personal storytelling just versus something that shows up out of nowhere?
Well, as far as granddad cars go, and I give this advice uh, to new songwriters.
Hmm.
If you think about something that has happened in your life that you think is pertinent, that other people would want to know about, and granddad's car is a good example of that. Then write about that, and you can be very effective. I've written a number of songs about childhood experiences that people really like, and that pleases me. Um, my first guitar is I wrote after coming back from a trip to Portugal, and I had been exposed to fado. I don't know if you're familiar with that musical form, but it's this strange mix of like opera and the blues that you see in Portugal. The performers wear tuxedos and white scarves and all that kind of stuff, but it has that sort of Mediterranean Latin kind of sound to it, and so that was where that one came from. But yeah, it's the fun and the inspiration for songwriting is it just comes from a lot of different places. I'm glad you enjoyed all that. Thank you for saying that.
It's absolutely, it was, I'm sincere, this was absolutely my pleasure, and I really enjoyed it very much, which means I need to actually bring the last question here, which is not a song that you played, but Bury Me in My SUV. There is a real degree
a lot of that's
humor.
if I were to be famous for a song, it would be that one.
There is, you were talking before about current events definitely bring something into your music, and I guess the question is how do you bring humor and irony? When do you decide to play that in as opposed to some other tone?
Oh wow, wow. Yeah, I in that particular instance, it felt like it made the point. I mean that thing started the seed of that was there was a law that was passed in Georgia or something like that. I can't remember when it was. This long time ago, 20 years ago, where they didn't require some sort of pollution control device on pickup trucks, and the idea was that they didn't want to adversely affect farmers, which is like I just don't understand that kind of thinking. It was the same thing with seat belts. For a while, if you had a pickup truck, you didn't have to have a seat belt in it. But at any rate, that was where that started, and so I felt a sort of anger about that people thought that for some reason people that drove trucks um, didn't have to have the same pollution regulations and so forth as opposed to people that drove cars. And so sarcasm just came out of me with
Yeah.
that one. But yeah, I the first time that I played that, I played at an open mic at the Red Light Cafe, which I mentioned, and there was this table with four guys in front of it, and for everybody that it's not familiar with the song, it talks about it's the title of the song is "Bury Me in My SUV," and it's the chorus is "I don't give a damn about the ozone layer, as long as it has a DVD player. When Jesus finally calls to me to cross the Sea of Galilee, you can bury me in my SUV." And there's a bunch of verses in between there that are sort of biting, and so there was this table full of four guys sitting right in front of me, and they were sitting there like this, just looking at and it's like, oh man, and I just knew that they were thinking, "You're not talking about my Jimmy, are you?" Anyway, yeah, people like that song. I'm glad you appreciate it.
Well, I can understand why. Well, George, thank you so much for sharing your songs with us, and that was just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for the interview.
All right, it's time to do a little hip shake and a shimmy here, because we're gonna have Chris Steele play, even though he's been interviewing. We're going to move his role to performer. And then after he's done his two songs, we're going to try in between, see if we can find up anybody who's willing to interview him. And so we'll have Chris play right now. If somebody wants to spotlight him, that would be glorious.
Thank you very much, Mike. I've got two songs. These are both from February album writing month, just a couple of weeks ago. So these are all quite fresh. This is Have You Read the News?
posted on their wall. It seemed weird, but yeah, okay. There's no one else to prove it false. They used to throw the news at me, 6-11 and the paper too. Thank God we've gotten past, and now can see the hidden truth. Have you read the news of poison chemtrails flying? Have you read the news of all the doctors lying? Have you read the news about how they change weather? But why bother when they've done away with truth? Just random bits, partially digested, while we keep soaking in these lies. No building up, just torn apart before our unbelieving eyes. No light, no heat, no art, no truth. No love, no friends, no misplaced youth. No faith, no God, no nature too. No trust in me, no trust in you. I read the news today that someone posted on the wall. Reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. We'll tell you all about it all. Have you read the news of all the doctors? Have you read the news about all the doctors lying? Have you read the news that they change weather? But why bother when they've done away with truth?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. This next song, so if you're familiar at all with February album writing month, you're supposed to write 14 songs over the span of the 28 days. Now, if you do the math, that means 14 songs, and if you're going to do 14 songs, there's got to be a 13th song. So for those of us that are trichodescaphobes, this actually poses a slight problem. I was thinking about this in advance, and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to write a bad one. So then it actually then turned into a title, This is the Bad One, and then it just basically, there's a completely different story that just came with it. Now, as it ends up, it ended up being the 6th song, but it was written on the 13th, so it still works.
Walk in the dark, barroom lights are on, but who is watching? A cheap guitar hangs by my side. Loving the part, so I guess from shadows moving and passion yet implied. Another night, another $50 in my pocket. Another night to lie and say I won. Some nights are okay, but this is the bad one. Survey the room, it's just what the night has brought in. Hoping not to see someone I knew. Smiles and gloom, remember some lives are best forgotten, even when someone plays Claire de Lune. Another night for some simple blues where no one knows me. Another night to lie and say I'm fine. Some memories are great, but this is the bad one. Catching a sight, a trick of the light, something else to make me twig to something. There seems in all this darkness something bright, a scent, a sound, and at last I am found. Night moves along, light of gloom outside, sunrise I suppose. I guess I'm done, I guess we're done. It's hard to live along, locked in a memory that no one knows. To pine for a special, no longer no one. Another night where forgetting is unattainable bliss. Another night to say it was all a dream. Some memories are great, but this is the bad one. She was the bad one. This is the bad one.
All right. Good job, Chris. I'm going to turn you over. We rolled dice, virtual dice, to determine who would do this, and I won. So
Awesome.
which is not surprising. No one will ever play Risk with me anymore, anyway. Chris Steele is a last year or so addition to our staff, as mostly so far, mostly as interviewer and what am I say? Host. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm hosting. But obviously he's been a songwriter and performer for a good deal longer than that. I love the rock and roll you're getting out of that little OM there. That's nice. That's some good stuff. Let's ask a little bit about how you... I don't think I've ever asked you formally about your process. Some people can definitely say, for example, that lyrics come first, or that music comes first, or the chord and passages or something comes first. Is there a standard set in there for you?
No, my default is to always to say that the lyrics come first. I always want to have something to say, but one of the things that I've been finding, just the older I get, and quite frankly, I think maybe my process is actually changing a little bit, where the words and the music end up being a little bit independent. I will keep notebooks full of things, or I will keep areas on my computer of files of lyrical ideas. And at the same time, I have other areas where a chord progression will come to me, or a riff will come to me, and that'll be saved off somewhere. Now, there are also songs like, The Bad One, which literally came together in about 90 minutes, just with that one thought of, I have to write a song, and I'm afraid of running into a wall there, and just weirdly enough, by like worrying about the wall, all of a sudden the song's there.
Well,
Makes no
your
sense.
brain is relieving your tension by giving you what you need. So of those two songs, what were the processes in those two?
Well, so for have you read the news? It was that little riff is actually a warm-up riff, that the multiple chord thing that I did at the beginning. That's a warm-up that I've used for years, just to basically, particularly I injured my hand about 2 years ago, and it was something as I came out of that I used as kind of almost a personal PT to try and do. But the lyrics kind of came afterwards as I was looking around. We don't have a local newspaper around here anymore, and there's a lot of stuff that just gets spread on Facebook of just nonsense. And of course, this happens at all levels of our community, whether it's just kind of the stuff around the corner or around the nation and even around the world. So it occurred to me to want to say something about that with a little bit of snark in it. So the lyric was there, and I'm like, well, shoot, I got a thing that goes with that. So here we go.
Cool. Well, I know what you mean about the thing with the hand. I had some hand trouble, and very similar to what you're doing. Mine was the opening riff for Long Train Running, with that hammer on and, working those tendons, that's good. And well, I'm glad to hear you stuck to it. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Steele can be heard at the Eagle's Nest Revisited virtual open mic every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 2 p.m. real time. And occasionally at the Wag Dang Doodle open mic at the Leaf Bar in Edmonton. What's the time on that?
So this is actually when I do find myself up in Alberta. Things start to kind of warm up around 7, but really the stuff really starts going about 8 o'clock.
Okay, and is that streamed at all, or is that just a pure
No,
live?
it's a fantastic dive bar, and I strongly recommend it.
Yeah, okay, Edmonton in Alberta.
Yep.
So how do you know when you're going to be Alberta bound?
Alberta bound. I end up there probably about a half dozen times a year at least. So and I've got a group of friends up there who are musicians that I just kind of found, and we'll end up there and end up jamming.
All right. Chris Steele, our interviewer, and this time also our performer. It's always good to hear you play, and we'll go back to making you the interviewer here. I'm pushing the "You Are Now an Interviewer" button, and I will let us go back to our next performer, which is John Michael Lawrence and Deb Westlow. Hi, Deb.
Hi, guys.
I didn't originally notice that you guys were playing there together. I'm glad to hear it. John Michael sent me Vine in the Village in Bulverde, Texas, the Pig Pen in San Antonio, Texas, which is kind of a famous place, the Killing Room in Luling, Texas, and the Redbird Listening Room in New Braunfels. Where is that in New Braunfels? That's
It's right off of real close to I-35.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I were going in, just off of Solms Road, it's at the very south end of New Braunfels.
Okay. Well, the way we would say that here is I'll take the 10 to the 405 to the 5 to the... Anyway, good. Let's hope that people in Texas hear this and can come out and see you there. That'll be lovely, and we're going to have you play.
We were talking earlier, the other one was the Zoom on...
Influence Music
Hall. Influence Music Hall. We play that as well.
Bill, and we still go every Friday almost.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Well, and I should point out that the two of them together are known as Crossroad Creek, or as they say in some places in the country, Crossroad Creek.
Crick.
The Crick.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we've been playing together, oh my gosh, about 6 to 8 months writing songs. So we're going to actually play the very first song that we wrote together. It was kind of a funny story. I had started this because my husband and I are hitting our 40th year of marriage this year. I was writing this song, and somebody suggested I do a duet, and so I shared it with John, and he's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't be saying that if I was a guy." So we worked it together, and this is what we came up with. It's called "Still Look Good in Blue." Remember that special summer day? I was breathless when I saw you walk my way. And you washed your tear from the tranquil sky. Brilliant blue that sparkled in your eye.
I watched you as you floated down the aisle. We shared our vows with our hopeful smiles. Your flowers shone bright as a bluebird feather. We began our lives together. 'cause you sure look good in blue. Couldn't help but fall in love with you. Your picture locked in time is forever on my mind, and you sure looked good in blue.
Thought my heart would burst with joy when I saw you hold our baby boy. Callous hands, his tender eyes, his blanket soft and blue. I just can't keep from loving you.
'Cause you sure looked good in blue. Couldn't help but fall in love with you. Your picture locked in time is forever on my mind, and you sure looked good in blue.
Since the time I watched our faces,
Remember the beach, your warm embraces.
future is as wide as the deep blue sea.
I never dreamed you'd share all that with me.
'Cause you
Still look good in blue, and I'm still in love with you. Your picture locked in time is forever on my mind, and you still look good in blue. And you still look good in blue.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I like that song.
Going by memory.
All right, we're gonna do our newest song. And we're actually recording this one right now as we speak. So we're gonna have it out. The song we just played is actually out on well, I think it's out on the streaming services, but it was a song that we released through Hudson Harding Music's Folk Now CD. So it's out there on at least on anywhere. It's on YouTube, anyways. So
finally, you could say, YouTube, play Crossroad Creeks.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's fun.
But like I said, this is a newer song. It's called "What If." When I think of you and me back then, a love that should have never been, forbidden kiss by the river that night, held each other tight till morning light.
I love you's on a westbound train, slow dancing in the pouring rain. Love so perfect yet so very wrong, like the dangerous tune of a siren song. What if stars aligned in the sky? What if we never had to say goodbye? I wonder what could have been. Would we still feel the love we had back then? What if I knew someday I'd have to go? when we said goodbye in the park that day.
You took my heart as you drove away.
What if stars aligned in the sky? What if we never had to say goodbye? I wonder what could have been. Would we still feel the love we had back then? What if? What if stars aligned in the sky? What if we never had to say goodbye? I wonder what could have been. Would we still feel the love we had back then? What if? What if? That's called What If.
Right. Very, very nice. Let's get picking on the bones of how those songs got written here with Chris Steele.
All right.
Picking on the bones, Mike. All right. Well, that'll work. Deb and John, that was just absolutely gorgeous. And just as I'm kind of looking through this, you've really only been writing together as a team for, I guess less than 2 years or so. Just if I'm
probably
doing
been
the math.
less than a year.
2 years since we first met.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it actually probably a year to
probably like
9 months to a year
That's
working
that's
together.
remarkable. I mean, you obviously you've been strong songwriters before you did that. I guess tell me a little bit about how you you each came with your own styles and your own way of doing things. How did you find ways to both pull and push each other as well as give each other room? How did that work?
We generally both. I mean, we come with a song and share it with the other one. Usually, we have an idea or a start of something, and then we work from there most of the time.
So somebody has the idea, and then we just start fleshing it out from that point. She comes up with an idea a minute. She's pretty prolific.
And it's kind of fun because we do have different ideas and stuff, and trying to hash things out and trying to come up with a song that we both agree on.
Well, and actually we pretty much agree on it. We both neither one of us are so protective about any particular, you get that favorite line in a song and I don't want to give that up, but sometimes you got to give up your babies,
Yep. We do.
You just let it go and maybe save it for another song somewhere down the road, but we think a lot alike, and that helps a great deal. But
it absolutely does. I'm glad that you also played Still Look Good in Blue. I was also picking through some of your online recordings earlier this afternoon. That was just an absolute beautiful thing. And then to Deb hear the story of how that song kind of came together, I think that's just wonderful. And I guess there's so much personal that's in that song. How do you I asked this question to somebody else before, but how do you? I guess there's a little part of it is, do you care as to whether people are going to find the universal in it, and it's just important for you to tell the story, or are you also are you conscious of doing the connection with the listener as you're putting that kind of a song together?
Most of the time we're just writing the song. We don't necessarily worry about who's going to listen to it.
Well, we're both ex-military, so we share a lot of similar kind of the military trips and a lot of that kind of stuff. So Yeah, we just do it, and we can both contribute the parts, so someone couldn't say that, oh, that's her story or that's my story by the time we finish with it.
Yeah.
You know, it might be a little bit of hers, a little bit of mine. You know, you never know. It might be just totally made up stuff. You know?
Like the second song, for example.
Well, it's brilliant work. We've only got a little bit of time here, but I did have to ask. Obviously, you're performing in San Antonio in the Hill Country area. I just came back from Helotes. My in-laws are down in Helotes, so I have to ask. Did you ever played at Floors?
No,
Floor Country Store?
No,
not that level yet.
No, we played at Lukenbach.
Oh wow!
Several times.
Yeah, they have a song circle on.
Oh, that's wonderful. There are just so many just.
Times a week.
Yeah, we play in farmers market up at New Braunfels, place stuff like that. She does a lot of nursing homes and retirement centers and hospitals and stuff like that too.
Where they need the music. Thank you so much for that. I'm gonna hand this back here to Mike, but thank you again so much for sharing your art with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys, and thanks, Chris, for that interview. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a small turn from our stream of performers to talk about, well, to have Dave talk about, really. Did someone say free guitar? Well, everyone who's on the show, performers and volunteer hosts alike, and by the way, there's a little nudge from me for you to sign up and volunteer for the hosts. Go on the Open Mic America website and all the mechanics for either signing up to play or signing up to work as one of the staff. It's all right there. You can get that. And when you do that, you get a ticket in the sacred soup bowl for the annual drawing for one of Capo Dave's Dandy hybrid guitars. So what is a Dandy hybrid? Well, Dave's going to tell you more about it, but this is basically a uniquely designed acoustic guitar that has considerably higher projection and higher volume than a standard flat top. You can use, I've played these things at open mic, circle jams, never at a campfire yet. Not yet on an open boxcar on a moving train, but on a very wide variety of other things, and it delivers. It's a beautiful guitar. I recommend it. Learn about them and hear them played on the website Dandy Guitars. That's Dandy with a Y. DandyGuitars.com. There's going to be a link in the YouTube chat, and you can find a link to the Dandy Hybrids at the bottom of the OpenMicAmerica.com homepage. But right now, I'd like to turn it over to the maker, inventor, and founder of Open Mic America, Mr. Capo Dave Williams.
Thanks so much, Mike. Yeah, the next drawing is December the 14th. This is the fifth bowl here. Everybody that plays on the show and folks that host the show also get tickets in the fish bowl for the drawing. And yeah, I would like to talk a little bit about the guitars as they've evolved. They started out as floating bridge guitars, and I found out early on that made them very powerful, gave them a lot of volume, a lot of projection. And over time, I wound up with this little setup where it's got a pin bridge, but it still has the floating bridge. So it's splitting the job of terminating the strings, not springs, and anchoring the strings. And that's the latest iteration. But another thing I would share with you about these guitars, and it also makes a big contribution to the difference in sound, is the fingerboard is a floating fingerboard. The fingerboard does not attach to the body. And I would show you, this is a neck for number 37, which I'm building now. And these are bolt-on necks. And this is a method that now the big manufacturers are starting to do this. Collings has been doing it. Taylor does it. Martin is doing it. But they're still stuck with the the fingerboard being attached to the body. And if you think about that, they talk about the contribution of the fingerboard, the ebony contributing to the tone of the guitar. And if you really start to think about that, you say, how could something that's interrupting this box that you've made add to the sound? I mean, it's going to change the sound, but I've built a couple now of guitars that have normal bridges. They don't have the floating bridge. They have the normal bridge like a normal flat top guitar, but they have the floating fingerboard and they project very, very well. So I think that this is contributing. The manufacturers are doing it from the standpoint of it's a lot easier to manufacture a guitar like this. And if you've ever had a neck reset done, that's a nightmare. No nightmare with these. You can take this neck right off. The body is separate, and that's helped me with developing the guitars because I'm able to take the neck off and totally rebuild a guitar to different voicing. I've built 36 of these, but I've revoiced probably 10 of them, and some of them 3 times. So I've been able to, work on my development that way. Anyway, I really enjoy building them. I think you would enjoy playing one. If you get up Portland Way, give me a shout. You can stop by and play. I've got a bunch of them here. And that's about all I have. Just wanted to talk a little bit about that. I'm hearing some great music here tonight. And thanks so much to Mike and to Chris doing a great job. So I'm going to turn it back over to them and on with the show.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. If you want to flip me back onto this.
I'm going to do that right away.
Here.
Okay.
There we are.
There we go.
Okay. So next up is a fantastic, tremendous songwriter. He also has the I don't know if you know about medals, like when you get your first Purple Heart, they give you a Purple Heart, and then they have little things that they attach to it when you get your second, third, and fourth Purple Hearts. It's like that for Rich. He's not only a singer-songwriter here on as a player, but he's also one of our lead staff members, does a lot of the hosting for us, contributes in a lot of ways. And when he is not doing all that, he's at the Fletcher Bay Winery Open Mic, and virtually he plays Open Mic America and Joe Isaac's Music Matters Showcase, about which somewhat more later when we get Joe up here. He also plays in the regally named Harmony Wombats, all around Puget Sound. And later this month, you're at Hood Canal Brewery, right?
We are going to be at the Hood Canal Brewery a couple of times later this month. Yes.
Okay. And then your main staging at the Pets Walk, it says 2005. I think you mean 2025.
I hope so.
Yes,
in 2025.
Now, where's Poolsbo, Washington?
So it's Paulsbo, and it is
Paulsbo.
right across the bridge from about 10 miles down the road from Bainbridge Island. And so the Pets Walk 2025 is a real big deal. They have it every June, and it goes to benefit the Kitsap Humane Society. So they have a festival there, along with a 5K Pets Walk, where you walk 5K or a mile if your pet doesn't want to walk that far.
Assuming you have a pet that can walk 5 o'clock.
Well, you can go and grab one out of a yard, I think. I didn't say that.
Steal them out of people's yards, yeah. That sounds a little bit like you, Fassler. All right, but next up is Rich Fassler, and I want to introduce him and turn your ears over to him.
Well, thank you. What a wonderful introduction. I don't want to play now and spoil it. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm here on lovely Bainbridge Island, Washington. I got a couple of songs to play today, and they are both relationship songs. And one is a happy relationship song, and one's a not so happy relationship song. So here we go. This is the first one is called Since You've Been Gone. and this is the not so great one. But anyway, and it's a brand new song. I literally finished it up a couple of days ago. So here we go. We've been apart a while, my anger's past. I can finally breathe. The chains are broken and I'm flying high. No tears to cry, the hurt is gone. Got no more heart to grieve. Living my life without you by my side. Since you've been gone, I can dance in the rain and laugh out loud. Since you've been gone, I can stay out late and hang with my crowd. Pick up my guitar, sing songs I played before. And life has been okay since you've been gone. All the times I'd hold you near me, we drift into the night. I tell you all my fears I'd hold inside. And when times got bad, you'd bring them up and throw them back at me. Until I couldn't find a place to hide. Since you've been gone, I can dance in the rain and laugh out loud. Since you've been gone, I can stay out late and hang with my crowd. Pick up my guitar, sing songs I played before. Life has been okay since you've been gone. Now when I think about the way we were and what we came to be, letting what we had just slip away. If we had tried a little harder to keep our love alive, instead of the same fight, just a different day. Since you've been gone, I can dance in the rain and laugh out loud. Since you've been gone, I can stay out late and hang with my crowd. Pick up my guitar, sing songs I played before. Life has been okay since you've been gone. Life has been okay since you've been gone. Has your life been okay since you've been gone?
Yeah, nice stuff, Rich.
Thank you. All right, now I'm going to switch guitars, and I'm going to actually play one of those dandy guitars. All right, I am living proof that you can win a dandy guitar because I won this dandy guitar in the drawing last December. So you too can win a dandy guitar. And okay, so that was my sad relationship song, and now I'm going to do a whimsical relationship song. This is a futuristic one, and hopefully the world is not going to be destroyed in the next 4 years. And I believe, if everything turns out okay, that this could be a very true whimsical relationship song. So this one is called Coraline. And it goes something like this. Well, I'm just a farmer working this land, growing food for others. Well, ain't life grand? But the truth be told, it's a lonely world in the middle of nowhere. I can't find the girl until one fateful morning when I got online, saw an answer to my prayers on Amazon Prime. Opened the box in a hurry, assembly took some time. She gave me a wink with eyes of green, said, "Hello, handsome, I'm Coraline." Well, Coraline, bless your heart. Coraline, when I press start, you're my best friend, my partner too. I can't imagine life without you. Well, the neighbors got nosy, thinking this is kind of strange. One day I'm a loner, now it's home on the range. I invited them for dinner, Coraline cooked a feast. And when that night was over, all concerns had ceased. She answers all my questions, never ever makes me feel dumb. She helps me plant my crops, she's got an app called My Green Thumb. She's an ace with my old tractor, straight crop rows every time. She gently corrects me when I make a mistake. I can even leave the seat up and she don't mind. Well, Coraline, bless your heart. Coraline, when I press start, you're my best friend, my partner too. I can't imagine life without you. Make sure I'm strong and healthy. Been years since I smoked. She advises on social issues. Some people say I'm woke. Knows when I leave all my stuff. Even programs my phone. At the end of the day, out go the lights. She loves me more ways than I've ever known. Well, Coraline, bless your heart. Coraline, yeah, when I press start, you're my best friend, my partner too. I can't imagine life without you. And there you go.
All right. Well, Chris Steele will know about help us analyze the difference between those two songs. So, Chris,
I don't know if I can do that so well. You know, we do a sound check here for those of you who are actually paying attention to the show beforehand, and Rich started playing a little bit about where we're talking about working the land. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a wholesome, uplifting song about farmers' plights. I want to thank you for that, Rich. That was wonderful. I guess where do your songs come from? I mean, just the difference between Since You've Been Gone, which is really kind of very. I want to come back to that one in a second, and then Coraline. Were you passing by an Amazon box and just this came out of nowhere? Where'd this come from?
Well, I really do believe that sometime in the future we will have robots. I know it's science fiction stuff. We will have robots that look like humans, and we'll be able to order them. I'm sure you'll be able to order them over, through Amazon. And so for those people who are lonely, they too can find love. I think I came up with and there's also a little lead picking that goes in that I didn't play because I was afraid to screw it up. And it was just, it just kind of evolved. And I said, okay, this is going to be the song about the farmer who gets a robot. So, and there you go.
Well, thank you for that, Rich. I just, there's such a versatility in your playing, just, in terms of, the different kind of musical ideas that you come with. Never mind the subject matter, and we'll talk about that. But, just you've been, I'm thinking, some of the stuff that you're doing more recently, which with, for example, the Harmony Wombats, which I will note on your logo, it says, taking it to 3 since 2023. That's just absolutely beautifully done. I guess, coming from all of those different traditions, how does, is your songwriting process one of like, of trying to put all these things into a stew, or you just wake up someday and I'm like, I want to write something that's a little bit more alternative, or I want to write something that's a little bit more traditional, or how does it come together for you?
Yeah, so I have no idea other than I'll just come up to my little office studio room that I have and just start playing the guitar. And some days it'll be just playing stuff I've always played, and other days it'll be just kind of noodling on the guitar. I'm sure a bunch of us have the same thing. And you come across just a little, the chord progression that lends itself to a little tune, and you say, hey, that's kind of good, and you record it on your iPhone or your phone or whatever, and you keep coming back to it. I can go weeks without getting nothing, and then one day, it'll hit. I'll also tell you this, it's a little weird, but maybe some of you have the same weirdness. I'll be in the shower, and I'll be just humming a song or something, and I'll say, well, that sounds pretty good. Or, or some lyrics will hit in the shower. I mean, lyrics for me are extremely hard. I'll come up with the tune first, and just a catchphrase, but then the rest of the song, it's like, oh, just shoot me, right? I mean, but sometimes in the shower, I will just kind of be singing a little something and come up with some lyrics that I think, wow, those are pretty good. Where did those come from? So I don't know. It's a crapshoot. I do know that it is work, and now that I'm retired, I really don't like to work at anything. So I really have to. If I've got something, I really have to spend some time and really, put the effort in. Nothing comes too easy.
It's a craft. It's absolutely a craft. Well, Rich, thank you so much. And looking forward to seeing you again online here at some point in the not too distant future.
All right.
Mike,
my
back
pleasure.
to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm always glad to hear you, Rich. And now here's somebody else that I'm always tremendously glad to hear. Coming up next, Joseph Isaacs. Joseph runs a showcase that's kind of similar to OMA. It's got people from all across the country. It happens on Saturday evenings or Sunday mornings, at least my time, Pacific time, 3 hours earlier than that, later than that on East Coast time. And it's quite a deal. It's quite a deal. I have played on it. I have loved playing on it, and Joseph always plays on it, which is, frankly, really kind of the main reason I go is to hear him. And so here he is, Joseph Isaacs.
Thanks, Mike. What a nice introduction. All right, I got a couple. This one's a new one, the first one I'm going to do, pretty new one. Wrote it about a month ago. I think it speaks for itself. I'm just going to play it. Well, I'll say this, I feel like emotions sort of have a cycle sometimes too, there's a rock cycle, a water cycle, so I think sometimes emotions have a cycle too. I'm so angry, I don't know who I am. I'm so angry, I don't know what for. I'm so angry, I be careful around me. So angry, I keep your distance from me. I'm so angry 'cause everybody's keeping their distance from me. I'm so angry 'cause everybody's being careful around me. I'm so angry 'cause I'm stuck in this cycle. I'm so angry 'cause I'm so lonely.
how to breathe. I'm so sad 'cause everybody's so far away. I'm so sad, so I'll keep on pushing everyone away. I'm so sad 'cause I cannot be sad. I'm so sad 'cause I don't know what I'm feeling. I'm so sad 'cause I can't seem to cry. I'm so sad 'cause I don't know what this is in my eyes. Learning how to breathe. Learning how to breathe. Learning how to breathe. I'm so frustrated 'cause I keep getting frustrated. I'm so frustrated 'cause I can't be happy where I am. So frustrated 'cause I cannot count my blessings. So frustrated 'cause I can't just let myself be. Learning how to breathe. How to
Thank you.
Oh, like a
Lovely guitar.
Thanks so much. So that last one was called Breathing Lessons. This one's called Flying Lessons. I don't know what I'm doing up here in the air, acting like I don't gotta care. Maybe I don't wanna be here at all, but if I stopped flying, I would fall. And you should see the view from these great heights. See all the wrongs and how they can be made right. So I'll keep on banging on these strings, hoping someday to grow wings. You should feel this feeling called love. Make you feel like you're flying up above. It's written deep into our code. It keeps us coming back for more. It hurts like hell when you hit the ground. Just gotta hope nobody else is around. You pick yourself up and then soon you'll be flying once again. The wind will batter against your face. It'll try to hold you in your place. But flying up here we can be free. Finally learning what it means to be me. You should see this thing that they call life.
can see the whole thing when you're in flight. Arrows like patchworks on a whole. You can feel this humming in your soul. I don't know what I'm doing up here in the air, acting like I don't gotta care. But I'll keep on banging on these strings, hoping someday to grow wings.
Love that song.
Thank you so
Great
much.
song.
Good stuff, Mr. Isaacs. I'm going to turn you over to, of all people, Chris Steele.
Just thank you so much for that. It was absolutely beautiful. I was even thinking about this when we were doing the sound check. Your chord voicings are so incredibly beautiful and open, and I'm wondering how you come up with them. Is it just are you consciously starting with a melody and figuring out something that's going to carry it, or do you start out with noodling?
Well, I keep on, I keep on experimenting with all these different alternate tunings, and this one's almost an open E. It's like an E suspended, and then I'll generally start with I'll find some sort of riff that opens up something in me emotionally, and then from there, and it varies from song to song. This is not always my process, but generally from there, I'll start playing with some lyrics, and I'll let it evolve over some time. It usually comes out mostly there, but then I'll keep on tinkering and polishing.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely beautiful. I'm just kind of remembered there's so Alex Lifeson of Rush. He's still he still plays guitar 3-4 hours a day, even though he's nominally retired. But he just basically does it for the enjoyment of it. And it sounds like your creative process is kind of similar, where you're trying to find that voice, and then it kind of gives you the ability to access the emotional, and then things from there.
Yeah, it's funny. I keep on going down to less and less strings. The new ones I've been writing, not to this one, but a lot of them are now I've got just two notes, E B E E E B E. I keep on. I don't know. I feel I feel like something about that sort of opens me up to play around more, and then when I'm playing around more, I usually stumble upon something that sort of resonates with me. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I mean, both of those songs then, too, just from a lyrical perspective, they really speak to, I'm going to go into full educator here, but basically a growth mindset kind of a concept. Both of them are about, experiencing a thing and actually trying to find the meaning in it, or finding the growth in it. And of course, I'm seeing the pictures and the paintings behind you. I'm not sure that you have any experience with helping people grow.
Right. Well, and I'm a teacher also. I teach English as a second language. That's interesting. I like that. And I kind of feel, I feel like it's hard to put music in a box because it does so many things, but I feel and it can do different things for different people, obviously, and everyone's got their own thing. But I think generally emotion and memory and thoughts, that are going through our minds, all those kind of seem to come out during the songwriting process. And I think that's why I love it so much, because when I stumble on a new song, it's sort of okay, I feel like I found this new sort of facet of myself, sort of almost like an archaeological dig or something, sometimes, it's just okay, and now there's this, okay, and that's interesting, and I wonder what's going on here. And, and sometimes I feel like I'm a person who has trouble connecting with their emotions, generally, and music really helps me do that in a positive way. So I feel like, I feel like it's medicine for me, and I hope my songs, it feels like, at least it resonates with some people also as a medicine for them as well. So, hey, it's especially in these times, I think a lot of people are struggling right now with like everything that's going on in the world and trying to like just process it all. And so, I hope everybody can find something to keep themselves sane, like during all that, because it's just, for me, it's music, but like, I don't think it should be nothing for anyone. I think everyone needs to find something or other to sort of explore that part of themselves, explore their feelings and thoughts.
Well, I'm going to paraphrase another friend of mine and just say thank you very much for your music medicine, and then I'm going to hand you over to Mike. Well, I'm going to hand everybody back to Mike here, and we'll move on to our next performer.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic evening. So everyone's been really wonderful, and you guys, the hosts and sound engineers, and Dave, and I really appreciate all you guys. It's a wonderful thing you're doing here. It really is important to a lot of people, so appreciate y'all.
It's a lot of fun, and it's a really good community. Mike, back to you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Hey, I want to point out once again, there's another good community that Joseph is the harbinger and author primarily of, called the Music Matters Showcase. You can look on, you can either look up Joseph, or you can look Joseph Isaacs, or you can look up Music Matters on Facebook to attach yourself to that.
Yeah, search for Music Matters Showcase, and then it should come up.
Yeah, and you should be able to get into it right away. It's a good thing, just like this is here. Okay, next up we have a person who is just an absolute favorite of mine. I will always say that when it's true. She plays in Maine and around, and she plays at the Catbird Cafe. She also plays at the Music Matters Showcase. I've been on that show with her, and the Rosalindale open mic. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer McQuaid.
Well, thank you so much, Mike. Yeah, excellent talent tonight, as usual. I have to make a confession, though. My mom's been keeping me busy here at the house, so no excuse, but I haven't really come up with some good ideas. Well, I got plenty of ideas. I just haven't finished any recent songs, so I'm going to go into my history here and rattle off a couple of older tunes. This first one's called Let's Take a Walk. When we were young and so carefree, not a care in the world but you and me. Many dreams do come true. I hope this love has been good to you. Did life turn out the way you wanted? Did you fight hard in a world undaunted? Take my hand now, hold on tight. Soar across the sky like a bird in flight. Let's take a walk along a moonlit beach. No one around but the sun beneath our feet. Reminisce about days gone by. What lies ahead for both you and I. You and I. Skip some stones across the bay. We'll talk about life in the world today. The ups and downs as we travel through life, holding on to each other in the night. Times get tough and there's no one around. Look outside and there's no one around. Let's take a walk along a moonlit beach. beneath our feet. Reminisce about days gone by, what lies ahead for both you and you and At the end of the night, when the clouds turn gray, when you look outside and there's nothing to say, let's take a walk along a moonlit beach. No one around but the sun beneath our feet. We'll reminisce about days gone by, what lies ahead for both you and you and
Very nice.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember my own songs. I think I forgot a verse there. Anyways, this is another older song. This one's called As I Am, and I think I wrote this probably 10, 12 years ago. I had an opportunity to perform on a radio station up in Maine there on WMPG. And so I wrote this song like 2 days before I was going to perform it. And anyways, it's called As I Am. I thought my chance had long passed me by, but here I am, singing my song for you. Oh yeah, for you. I've done a lot of things in my lifetime. Some have succeeded and some have failed, but like a distant ship out on that horizon, I will set my sail and let them lead me to you. Will you take me as I am? I'm just out here singing my song for you and those who will listen. If I'd done all those things that I set out to do, if I reached my final destination singing for you, I don't know. Let's see where the wind blows. Oh yeah, where it blows. I've done a lot of things in my lifetime. Some have succeeded and some have failed, but like a distant ship out on that horizon, I will set my sail, let them lead me to you. Will you take me as I am? for you. I know she'll listen. Oh, oh.
Love the 12 string.
Yes.
Love the 12 string.
Yes. All right, Jennifer, I'm going to send you over to our stellar interviewer, Chris Steele.
Hi, Chris.
Thank you very much, Mike. Jennifer, that was just gorgeous. All right, so I'm going to get deep just for a second here, because that whole set of lyrics, I was just kind of just going with notes and just getting very philosophical on it. It seems a real exploration of, those early days of a relationship where you're trying to figure out how you get to know somebody, how you get to accept them, how you get to treasure the things in each other. It's such a universal theme, but you explored it to such depth. What was it that kind of put that in your mind right then, as just a day before you're going on an interview?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm like, should I do it? I mean, I wrestled with the idea of performing live, and I said, do I really want to? I really don't have a good song, I said, I want to just come up with something, and I don't know. It just came to me, and I just went with it, and like Rich, I don't spend a lot of times on the lyrics, but if I come up with a good guitar riff or, something to that effect, I'll say, okay, that's good. Yeah, that might grab somebody on that. And then I'm like, oh crap, now I got to figure out the words. So, but I figure going on the radio for the first time, will you take me as I am? That kind of went through my head. Um, but yeah, I mean, and as far as the other song, that was more of a relationship song as well. Looking back at one, and not too much there, but.
Well, I get it. And I was actually saying this to a couple of the others that had played. I had a real pleasure today being able to get to listen to just everybody's music, and as they have put it out there into the public. And you've got such a progression and such a range of the things that you have done. And I guess one of the questions I have for you is just kind of seeing the progression over time. What is it that's really what is it that's setting you on fire now? Just from a style perspective. I see you playing the 12 string, but I'm wondering what your direction is, where your direction is headed.
It's probably all over the map. I mean, I guess I mean, I've been doing this all my life, but when I meet someone, and I'm basically a lazy person, so when I meet somebody that's really motivated, they get me motivated. And again, another reason to attend these open mics and songwriters courses, or whatever. But I just all of a sudden broke loose, and I met so many talented musicians, and a lot of times, when you first asked me, how do I get into different things? I mean, I could be listening to somebody's beautiful music that they wrote, and all of a sudden, which I'm not good at lyrics, but all of a sudden these lyrics start popping into my head. And I'm like, oh my God! I said, would you mind if I sing a song to your music? And they're like, yeah, sure, go for it. The other side of that, when I'm not collaborating and I'm just in my home studio, um, I'll just come up with like I said, the riff. And a lot of times I'm like, I wonder what the bass should do in this. And then I'll grab my bass and I'll start putting that over it. And then I'm like, it should really be filled out with the keys. And then I jump over to the keys. And next thing I know, I'm like, yeah, this is a good song. Oh crap! Now I got to write the words. So I'm just like Rich in that regard. It's just, yeah, I just enjoy so many styles and types of music, and I appreciate. There's so many of us out there. I mean, just what I heard tonight. I mean, but musicians, singers, songwriters, we're everywhere, And somebody once asked me. They said, "Well, what station do you listen to? How do you find new music?" And I'm like, "It's all online. I mean, I can just go to one site and be lost for hours, listening to these talented individuals or whatever." But it's usually when I hear somebody or something, it gets me motivated to do something else. So
I understand
guess
that inspiration.
A long-winded explanation.
And you are fluent in so many different musical languages here, just with the different styles. But thank you again for sharing your music with us. I'm going to hand us back over to Mike, and we've got one more performer
we'll
get
job
here.
Too, by the way.
Sorry?
I said you're doing a great job. By the way.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Mike, back to you, sir.
Yes, he really is, isn't he? He really is. And here's somebody else who, just in the sound check, I became enamored of his music. Jim, you want to unmute. And then I have a quick question for you. Is this your first time on Open Mic America? I don't think so.
No, I was part of the original crew when Dave got this going. He had an idea. Hey, I got an idea.
Yeah. I thought I remembered you from the early days. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, someone you can see around in the McMinnville, Oregon area, but also you can hear him on Bolton FM in Bolton, England. And on April 16th, he'll be opening for a pretty well-known, I even had heard of them, Portland cover band called the Hit Machine, but the best part will be him opening for them, I'm sure. Jim Pritz.
That's going to be a rough gig. When they told me who I was opening for, I had to get rid of all my sensitive songwriter songs and get down on the dirty old blues and stuff, so that I can toss around nasty lyrics so that the kids won't throw cokes at me and stuff.
All right, then. Get some plastic over your guitar there.
Yeah. This is called My New Song, and I started writing it in 1975. And I never recorded it, not until about 6 months ago. I kept changing the lyrics. It's a really simple song, really. It's a love song.
Baby, you make it such a pretty day. Baby, you look the part of spring. Maybe you're the writing on the wall, or just the music for my new song. Baby, you make the coldest day seem warm. Maybe my soul has sprouted wings, and you know that when you're gone, you're coming back in my new song. Look how the world is turning on a string. Baby, my eyes reflecting you. If I must, I will go, but not before we make love once more.
In the springtime when the early light wakes us up from sleepy dreams, I watch you lying there a while and find the peace to go another mile. In the winter when the falling snow makes me think of fields of green, you drop a smile by the fire. It's how we're wired. Why you're my heart's desire. Baby, you know you turn the darkest day into a holiday.
Great guitar work.
Wow.
Beautiful song.
That's some good picking, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You see so many guitars, and I gotta say, from my point of view, the guitar is a wonderful thing, and I think we all love it very much. And it's a great way getting in touch with those emotions that we all write songs about. I'm not prolific by any stretch. I'm not a prolific songwriter. In the 63 years that I've been playing the guitar, I've written fewer than 30 songs. The first thing I do is write the song and then come back to it a week later and toss all the cliches. And boy, they show up. And then when I'm pretty happy with that, I'll put some music to it and I'll see what I come up with. This is a song, we don't hear very many songs about our pets. This is about a dog. His name was Zach. He had a sister named Tess. And a friend of mine lost Zach, and he said he was so inconsolable that he just was depressed all the time. And I know how that is. If you've ever had a wonderful canine buddy, they are loving, and they're perfect creatures. They're like perfect little humans, perfect little misshapen humans. Oh, I don't know who's misshapen, but you know what I mean. So this is for all our fur babies out there. It's called To Be Walking With You.
Give anything to be walking with you. This old footballer would put on his shoes and off to the ocean with family in tow, under the dunes where the summer wind blows. The waves would foam and tumble and swell as we ran down together the path we knew well. Every small bit of existence there'd be, now in the moment for my dog and me. Kids would laugh out your name as you ran. Zach, wait up for us here in the sand. Stop for a second and give us a rest, for your running companions, the ones you love best. Ooh, ooh, oh yeah. dogs get older much faster than we get over 'em, leaving inevitably. So feed 'em and love 'em and run 'em each day, 'cause one day be leaving us, no one can say. Ha. Later at home after running with you, the soul footballer would kick off his shoes, and in the wee hours all warm in his bed, he'd dream he was walking with you just ahead. He'd dream you were walking with just you be stalking. He'd dream she was playing with you once again. He'd see you both racing the seagulls you're chasing. He dreamed he was walking with you once again.
Wow.
Woof to our dogs.
Indeed.
Thank
Which
you.
I can only say, meow.
Yeah, I know. I know.
All right, I'm going to send you over to our interviewer, Chris Steele.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Mike. Jim, that was just gorgeous. And just as I was reading through, some of the stuff that you had posted, it just I can that finger style is just gorgeous. You had mentioned in one of your bios about the exposure to Pozo Seco and Paul Simon's guitar technique, and I guess I wonder, was that a kind of a conscious emulation, and did you find your own style after that? Because I hear what you're doing as being somewhat. Yeah, certainly inspired by, but it's very uniquely your own.
Well, thank you.
It's just absolutely beautiful.
Well, I learned how to finger pick on I wish I still had the guitar, a 1962 Fender Stratocaster, because I didn't have an acoustic guitar anymore. I learned how to pick in the, or actually how to play in a flat pick, in the folk song revival of the early '60s. And then I became enamored of rock and roll, and my hormones started rising, and I realized I knew enough math to say that red guitar equals sex, and so I went over to rock and roll, and but then I started listening to the folk stuff that was still going on, and Paul Simon was blowing my mind, and I remember playing, getting the bass notes as much bass as I could get out of that guitar, and learning how to finger pick. And Paul Simon was my earliest influence as far as finger picking. And from then I went to the old masters, Earl Travis, who this is named after, Travis picking, And it was onward and upward from there, or sometimes downward, but always straight ahead.
Well, and it's funny because you were mentioning the Stratocaster. You also pointed out, I think the way that you put it is that a lot of musical instruments, but not to confuse, and not just really know that I don't play rock and roll anymore. And it sounds a little bit like that wasn't necessarily your road, that this was definitely a little bit more of your calling. Your voice is very clearly here. I'm curious to hear what you would be as a rocker, but this is just beautiful. And how did that conflict resolve itself?
In my rock and roll bands, the last band I was in, other than when I was an old guy, a paunchy old guy of 60, about 10, 15 years ago, and I was in a band, and we would play at crab feeds and things like that. We called ourselves the Crustaceans, and we got to play all kinds of music. But back in my early rock and roll days, I didn't sing at all. I just sat in the background and noodled around on the guitar, and it took me a long while to come out of my shell. And that movie 6 Feet from Stardom, Well, 6 feet from singing, from Open Your Mouth, that's what my gig was. And so the rock and roll was temporary, always in the back of my mind. I remembered the staying up nights and listening to the old folkies and Peter, Paul, and Mary and people like that,
Mm-hmm.
and couldn't wait to get back to it really. And when I got tired of Denny's at 2:30 in the morning breakfasts, and I couldn't wait to get big, and so I got another acoustic guitar, and I kind of disappeared. I said, well, later, and I disappeared. I'll see you later, and I was gone. But that's my story, sort of.
I understand. I understand entirely. Yeah, you've got just your overall catalog. Just with some of the things I was listening to this afternoon is just absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, did you find my YouTube channel?
I did, and Winter Wheat in particular was one that I repeated a couple of different times. It's just a beautiful, beautiful song. I'll recommend that to anybody that is looking for something to listen to after this.
That's one of my favorite songs too. It is.
Yeah, it's just it's also about a particularly interesting time for all of us as
the pandemic. Yeah.
I guess where do you just talking about a new song that's 50 years old. The Winter Wheat that had a very, very kind of distinct moment in time. Where do you find your inspirations coming from? First of all, walking with you, that's just a heartbreaking for anybody who has ever lost a pet. That you can absolutely feel that. But
that was a natural, and that was the hook. I came up with the hook first, and I go, "This will kill people."
Yeah.
So it was easy for me, And but Winter Wheat, what I did was I wrote about a 2-paragraph piece of prose, a short story, and I wrote the song about that story. Because if I was left to write a song, it was full of cliches. I never once mentioned COVID-19. I never once mentioned the pandemic. I think the closest I came was to say the sickness that was loose upon the land. And that itself was almost a cliche, but I left it in because I couldn't find anything else to replace it, That's one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. And but that's how I write, and I try when I write a song. I take my time with it, and I'll doodle around, get some song. Somebody else said that about this. You sit around doodling, get a nice little hook, and then you start writing the song. And I wanted to keep it simple, so I did that. How do I do that? And the song is off. But I try to keep it simple, and I try to be as honest as I can. I get rid of cliches because cliches will kill you. A cliche was a brilliant idea once. And then Puff the Magic Dragon can attest to that. That's a song I love, and I will not do it in public because I'm so embarrassed. Oh my God, this is a cliche. You know what I mean? But I love the song, so I'll sing it in the shower,
I understand. Well, Jim,
I told that to Peter Yarrow once, and he and I were involved with the Napa Valley Music Festival. I says, I can't sing it in public. He says, why not? He says, and then we both said at the same time, it's a cliche. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, Jim, thank you again so much for sharing your music with us, and
thank
you
for
being with us. And look forward to seeing you again here.
All right,
but
thank
Mike,
you much.
Let me hand the microphone back to you for the last time here, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to do one quick piece of housekeeping here and mute everybody on our end here, and then I'm going to go back to thanking the performers, all of them, quickly, one by one, my list says for me to do, and I'm going to do that. Thank you very much, and please wave to the people on YouTube and out there. Charlie and Libby Hewitt, Bill Hernandez, George Eckert, Chris Steele, Deb Weslow and John Lawrence, Rich Fassler, Joseph Isaacs, Jennifer McQuaid, and the man who brought us home, Jim Pritz. And I'm going to go therefore and thank them all myself. It was lovely having you here, lovely hosting for you. Capo Dave Williams and Chris Steele were our other folks here. Chris Steele, our interviewer, lovely job, and our founder, Capo Dave Williams, who works all the time, tirelessly behind the scenes. I know this because I send him emails at all hours, and he makes this all possible. So remember to check our website, openmicamerica.com, with or without caps, for links to the music of all the OMA performers and find archives of all our past shows. You can also find lists of who the performers were and how many times they played and things like that. If you like this show, for goodness sake, spread the word. Don't keep it a secret. There's no reason not to have more people listening. You can download and print your own posters from our website. You'll occasionally see those around. I think Fassler sometimes has one, but not today. And we also have T-shirts that you can get through openmicamerica.com. And goodness gracious sakes, please check out your local and virtual open mics. And if you're traveling, look at the list of them we have here and see if you can find some of our people or just any good music out there when you're traveling. We've listed the ones where our performers play under the local open mics tab on the website. We are always here the first and third Sundays of every month. So our next show will be Sunday, March 20th, same time, same station. Stay tuned and we'll put up the next full lineup of performers on the website. Please check out your local and virtual open mics. We've listed the ones where our performers play under the local open mics tab on the lineup of performers. And YouTube audience, thank you so very much for listening. We could do this all just for ourselves, but why? What would the point be? Thank you so much for listening. All right. I'd like to have everybody make sure, check that you are muted. And if you're not, mute yourself. And then I'm going to say this from Open Mic America to America. Good night, America.
If you meet me at the corner of Russell and Albina, just about a block from Mississippi Avenue, I'll take you to a house where they hang carpets on the wall. And if we go there on a Sunday, there's a song I'll take you through.